Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BeerDad and Brewed podcast, brought to you by the Craft Lounge, Beaumont, California, just north of the 10 freeway, the greatest craft beer bottle shop in all the land. Jimmy, what's up? We wish you were with us right now.
Yeah.
And shout out to Johnny Deadly Trio with our theme music. You guys are the best. Keep rocking. And we are the BeerDad and Brewed podcast. As always, I'm your host, Justin Allen, the BeerDad, and we are here with my co-host, Mr. Tons and Kettles Homebrewing,
Hello.
Brandan Gray. Brandan, we are on the road. Where the hell are we?
We are we're the land of the thong.
The land of the thong.
Yeah, land of the thong, the thong.
Let me see.
So, if you're not familiar with thongs, they're just a very small piece of fabric that goes in between the butt cheeks.
Well, it depends on who you're talking to, because if you talk to an elderly crowd, they're going to think flip-flop, right?
Yeah, these are the butt ones, not the foot ones.
Okay.
Well, we have both here.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. So anyway, we're in Miami, Florida. Holy shit.
What? How the heck did... Oh, I know how we got here. We flew. We took our chances. We said our prayers, and we flew Spirit Airlines.
With absolutely
Shout out
no
to Spirit
sleep.
Airlines. Look at Marco. Like, oh, my God. You guys are
Yeah,
here.
dude.
Yeah, red eye on Spirit Airlines out of LAX. Only delayed an hour, so not too bad. And
Literally
it was
red
actually
eye.
a smooth flight. We didn't have any problems.
Yeah, red eyes. Justin actually got red eyes just walking through the terminal.
Oh, yeah. No, you're not joking, because when we got in, the puff of marijuana smoke there in the terminal, I was like, all right. I felt like, what was that movie with the airplane? Was it Soul Plane with Snoop
Soul
Dogg?
Plane,
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's what we're flying on. This is great. But yeah, Spirit Airlines, thanks for getting us to Miami, Florida, safe and sound.
We made it in one piece. We got a sweet blue Ford Fusion out there that we're
Nice
cruising
rental
around in,
car.
dude.
Is that you guys?
Yeah,
That's
dude.
us.
Freaking
Nice.
baller.
Yeah, Hertz Rent-A-Car, thanks for the hookup.
Thanks for that. We're running on zero sleep.
Yes.
And
Well,
now we're running on
we
fantastic
rested
beer.
our eyes a couple times, but there were some crying kids on the plane that didn't help us sleep. But,
Right.
yeah, it is what it is. But here we are. No, we woke up as soon as the sun came out. We're like, oh, we're
right.
good. But we are here in Miami, Florida, and more specifically, we are here hanging out at Unseen Creatures.
Yes.
Welcome.
And we are sitting here with Marco. Marco, thank you for having us.
Of course. Thanks
Yes.
for being here.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to say that this place is awesome because for several reasons. Like it's kind of a industrial area, but like we're surrounded by water. We noticed earlier Brandan was trying to catch a gator.
I was unsuccessful.
He was. But yeah, this is a cool little spot. I love the mural in here. Like right when you walk in, you see that big old mural. That's dope. But several things here are really neat. So, how long have you guys been here?
So, actually been here, open doors, allowing people to come in since December of 2019, right before the world fell.
Okay,
So it's been a little bit of a
it was like perfect timing to open a brewery, right?
yeah. We went from like packed, can't walk through the brewery to crickets overnight in a matter of a couple months. But things are moving, things are coming back. It's exciting. Feels like there's like a new breath.
Yeah, literally, because the masks are off now, so
That's it.
people are breathing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
That's it. It's good. I mean, it's been, I don't want to belabor the point of COVID and everything.
No,
we all kind
not-
of know the realities,
not at
but as hellish as it was to deal with it as such a young company, it's like sort of like if we can make it through that,
make it through just about
we can
anything,
make it
right?
through anything. And
Yeah.
we learned a hell of a lot about a lot of things we never thought we'd have to learn about. So it's good.
I've heard from a lot of brewers that, like yourself, opened either just before the pandemic or even during
Yeah.
the pandemic.
Yeah.
How to quickly reset your business plan
Yeah.
very fast.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to see breweries like yourself that have been successful through the pandemic and grown even more than they thought they would.
Yeah.
And one thing I can say is, this is the first time actually coming here to enjoy myself. I mentioned earlier I've been to Miami, but just for business. This time is technically business, but more for fun.
Yeah.
So we actually get to do stuff in Miami. But the Miami beer scene has been popping as of late.
Yeah.
So obviously all the other breweries been very supportive and kind of taking you in since you opened?
Yeah, I mean, the scene here is pretty young to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, our first like real craft brewery. It opened. I mean, what is it? I don't know. The COVID warped my time, but it's been within the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the answer to that is short. Absolutely. We just celebrated our 2nd year, and we did a stout in collaboration with all the other breweries to say thank you.
Nice.
And we, the community here is pretty tight knit. I mean, we help each other out a lot.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, before we opened too, we spent a lot of time, energy in doing a lot of collaboration beers around the country too.
Yeah.
So I think fortunately we had a little bit of a name brand already before we even opened the doors, and a little bit of recognition around that, and so in doing that, we became even closer with the breweries in town because we were sort of, I don't want to say gypsy breweries. It wasn't beers with our names on them, but our name was on other beers. So we were always, I don't know. It allowed us opportunity to become close with people and sort of go through and understand beer stuff before even opening a lot, which was helpful. But everybody here, I mean, we've got a brewery down the street in Lincoln's Beard. And when we opened, everyone was like, "Well, what's going to happen now? Is there going to be this thing?" And the owner is one of my best friends. Our kids trick or treat together, what people don't know is like he was sitting in my living room before we opened, going over my business plan and helping me understand like what I need to do with the county. And so the community here, by far and by large, is just a good group of guys.
I love to hear that.
Absolutely.
Because the more support, the more your community and brewing community specifically is going to flourish, and more people are going to want to be involved in that, which is
you guys are here for Miami Beer Week.
Exactly. No, seriously,
perfect timing, right?
I've been trying to come out here for a long time, ever since I've been hearing about a lot of the breweries popping up, getting beers sent to me, and just like checking out. It's very exciting, and it's very vibrant beer scene. It's super fucking awesome that we're here.
Absolutely. And one thing that a lot of people think, like, rival breweries, because that's like the old school mentality. But I think nowadays it's like people are realizing like we feed off of each other, because I mean, look, like Lincoln's Beard's within walking distance, so you can have someone come down here, chill, have some beers, and then walk over there, chill, have some beers, instead of just staying at one place. And that's what, like myself, whenever I go down to San Diego, where you have 387 options. You don't want to just go to one place. You want to hop around and see all the different breweries.
Sure.
And
Denver.
Denver, same thing. Yeah.
Dude. I know we just got back from Denver not too long ago, man. That scene is
it's incredible.
Fantastic. It is unbelievable. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's plenty of room. I mean, if you look at Miami, we've got less than 20 breweries in the entire city, I think.
But a lot of them
crazy.
have reputable names.
Yeah, and
it's
getting better. Yeah, and it's getting better every year, and people are finding out that people are at breweries down here doing cool stuff, and it's not. Yeah, it's just that we're young, and so like what's cool about it is, I think if you talk to a lot of the brewers down here, and I'll just speak for myself, but I think at least I have a sense of sort of I don't know if responsibility is the right word, but sort of I understand that like we're on the forefront of what Miami beer will be in the future.
Yeah. See, like the integrity to uphold that integrity.
Yeah. Like we're setting the blueprint for the rest of. I mean, one day when San Diego or when Miami is anything near San Diego,
right?
You're part of that original 20.
Yeah. And there's
See, but to me, it's better to have 20 breweries that are solid than have 325. And out of those 325, I'm not saying that those breweries aren't solid. I'm just saying that, being unique, being hungry, being innovative, things like that is, I think, more important than the numbers.
I agree with that, and I think that's why, and I think a lot of people down here agree with that too, and which is why everybody's so willing to help everybody. Hey, I need a bag of grain, and you can go down to this, drive up the highway, and somebody will give you a bag of grain. Like, our first batch, we brew a Kolsch that's become pretty popular, but our first batch of it, we had just opened. I'm like, all right, let's go, let's brew it, and then we realized nobody ordered the yeast for this.
Oh, no.
Shit.
So there's another brewery in town that brews a Kolsch as part of their core, and we called them, and they're like, yeah, just bring us, a sixtel, and we'll fill it with yeast for you. And
nice.
So you can charge
it just happened to be the yeast that we needed, and
perfect.
It,
Dude, that's
there
so
we go.
rad. I've had to do that before. Like I've like assistant brewed at like a brewery in Temecula, and so being there, it's funny because we're like, oh shit, like don't have all the grain that we thought we needed, so we literally have to go down to the homebrew store and then like be mashing it in. Like shit, like
Yeah.
Get it here. Like,
Yeah.
have to like mash in. They're like, okay, sweet. Like, saved again.
it.
Or go to another brewery down the
That's it.
street. Yeah. And
That's
it's
it. I mean,
it's a beautiful
we've
thing.
given people like, hey, do you have this hop? No, we've only got one box left, and we need it in a couple weeks. Hey, when are you guys ordering? Can you promise us you'll order and get us back
Yeah.
in time? Yeah, and so we'll just come pick up the box.
That's
I mean,
perfect.
We're always trying to help each other and look out for each other.
Awesome. So let me ask you this: the traditional beer podcast question. What got you into brewing? What made you want to open a brewery?
Every time I hear that question, I think about Mitch Hedberg. you know, Mitch. He talks about that one joke about the. I love interviews when they ask you, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?"
Right.
And I answer, celebrating the 5-year anniversary of you asking me that question. I love that. Yeah, I mean, I don't. So I got into beer. I was really into wine.
Okay.
And then, like, I read everything I could read on wine. I watched every video I could find on how, like, start to finish, like growing and cultivating and just the culture around it. And then I started getting introduced to like farmhouse beer. No surprise if you actually come to the tasting room and see there's a bunch of barrels in the back too.
Yeah.
But,
We'll be taking lots of pictures of those.
Yeah, and you'll be drinking a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And we'll get into one soon.
Nice.
So excited.
But started getting into a bunch of like European beer and
Yeah.
farmhouse beer from Europe and lagers from Germany and the Czech Republic and all these things. And then as I started looking around for information on them, because I'm very obsessive over things when I start getting into them. I didn't find anything at that time that was like visually attractive to learn about it, or like went beyond sort of like the standard stats you see, you know. So then I decided I was going to start my own blog and create it.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead, shout it out. Shout out the blog.
I don't even do it anymore because it really doesn't matter. But it was called Craft Commander, and I might bring it back a little bit. I've had this idea of doing a little thing called Between Two Fooders.
Oh, nice.
And then when brewers come in to brew, we sit down and I just like shit all over everything.
Like, yeah.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
Is that why you have the
Yeah, I mean
ferns?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, between two ferns.
I love
Between
that.
two fooders.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But you know, that sort of led me into start brewing myself. And then as I was meeting people for these interviews, you know, we had Jean from Cantillon answering questions, and like people, like super inspiring people as part of the thing. And I started sharing beer with some of them and learning from them. And then I started realizing I had a lot of friends in the industry that I was home brewing. I was like, how do I troubleshoot this? And I could call like a professional brewer.
Yeah.
And so, you know, one thing led to another, and people started saying, hey, these things are actually pretty good. You might want to consider like opening a brewery. And then fortunately or unfortunately, I listened to their advice. When COVID hit, I said, when COVID hit, I was like, oh, but now I'm like, all right, great.
Maybe I should have waited to answer that question.
Exactly. But I don't know. I just got led down the rabbit hole, and I fell in love with, you know, after the European stuff, I started realizing that, you know, well, I became obsessed with Sierra Nevada Pale Ale and trying to recreate that.
Yeah.
And then one of the beers that's in front of us spawned from that, even though it looks and tastes nothing like it. We'll get into that, I guess. But I just started going down this craft beer, like what crazy things people can do with this liquid. And
it's amazing.
Yeah, became obsessed.
I mean, literally millions of possibilities depending on, I mean,
I
you
definitely feel
different
that.
hop profiles, different
Endless.
grain bills, like
Water.
it's just so much that you can do. Barrel age, non-barrel age. I mean, look at the wild stuff you're doing here. I mean, just
Right. I love that aspect. Like literally someone could tell me like, oh yeah, it's like, RO with just like calcium chloride. What do you want to do with it? Oh yeah, like do like a late edition IPA, but like lager it. And there's always like something that can,
You can do anything.
It's endless.
We get asked all the time to participate in like competitions and stuff, and I've never submitted our beer. I think we're gonna do one.
Okay.
Because somebody told us to submit Artifact as a wood beer. But I just from the beginning of brewing, other than trying to recreate Sierra Nevada Pale Ales, I don't want to contradict myself, but never really went by guidelines. Never thought guidelines ever should matter. It was more just like, what are people going to perceive?
Yeah.
And that's a whole lot of, I mean, perception is visual, mouthfeel, taste. I mean, it could be a ton of smell, and none of that stuff can line up with a traditional, rule book or style guideline. And I never gave a shit. It's like, what does it matter if it?
Well, it's just like saying,
Dude, I feel that.
One time judging a competition, and in the best of show, it's like, it sucks because you have to pick, if you're following guidelines, you have to pick per style. But it's like, sometimes someone would make something that's supposed to be in a certain category, but it's an amazing beer. It doesn't fit that style, but amazing beer because, something magical happened in the brewing process. And there it is. And it's like, who cares about, who cares about the competition? It's fun to win competition sometimes, but, and that's, I think what's cool about your brewery is the creativeness behind it all. Heard nothing but great things from Jeremiah. We'll shout him out. King's Brewing, Rancho Cucamonga, California.
Man, the myth, the legend.
That's my boy right there. So Jeremiah, thanks for hooking us up with Marco and doing what you do.
Definitely.
He is one of the best people in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's just like you said earlier. Like, he would give the shirt off his back if he needed it, and that is 100%.
Yeah, truly genuine person. And Jeremiah, we thank you for everything you've done for us, the BeerDad and Brew podcast, as well as through the industry. That's what I love. Like, he goes and helps brand new breweries, and just like you said, that picture he posted on Throwback Thursday was when you had nothing here. You were just starting to build.
We were starting to trench it, the building, and there was no windows in. Like, this was all just a gray box still. And and he showed up. Like, he's the man. I mean, he just puts his money where his mouth is.
Absolutely.
It's rare these days.
Good dude. If you guys, obviously, listeners of the show know, because our number one most downloaded podcast, King's Brewing episode. Hey, who knows? Maybe Marco, you beat him. You guys have a little ongoing competition.
There's no chance. He's so much cooler than me. He's so much cooler than me. There's no chance.
It's the braided beard.
Yeah.
Everybody's
So much cooler.
Yeah. There's nothing he can't do. He's got like 50 businesses.
It's right.
He's just a man.
Just celebrated his 6-year anniversary.
Yeah.
I stopped by. Usually when I go there, we're doing podcast stuff or, promoting stuff. But I went there just with I brought my family, the kids, just because it's more, like I told him, I was like, I'm going to bring my family. It's more a family time, and
that's what I love about it too. And I love your podcast name. Being a dad and a husband is really important to me, and really influences a lot of how I interact with anything we do, whether it's this product or anything else. And he's just like a good family guy too.
Oh yeah,
everything's
huge.
Family with him. You can tell. It's just, I don't know. I love that guy.
Yeah. How many kids do you have?
2, 6-year-old boy and a 3-year-old girl.
Oh, they learned the brewing process yet?
My son loves being here.
Oh, awesome.
He's always begging to come in and help, like label cans or whatever.
Perfect.
He sweeps the floor. Like, he just gets on our opening day, he swept the entire walkway. He was like 3, and he's like, I want to help. So he came in a little Unseen Creatures t-shirt and just cleaned while I was organizing stuff.
That's
so
awesome.
Cool, man.
He's gonna be a cellarman in no time.
Yeah,
Dude, for sure.
He's awesome. He's got an incredible ability to pick out aromas.
Really?
Dude, that's awesome.
So anytime I'm drinking anything, it's wine or bourbon, scotch, beer, whatever, I'll okay, come here. Especially if it's our beers, I'm trying to think of like what I'm smelling, and I'll let him smell it, and he'll start popping off these aromas, and you're like, Jesus, that is there.
Well, dude, because he's got a new nose. Our noses are,
Sniffers have
been
had
around.
it.
Yeah. They're Chinook in that. I expect to smell,
Sure. Yeah. Pine or wood or whatever, dirt or whatever.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love to hear it. I love to see.
It's so cool.
The kids in the breweries. A good friend of ours, Devin Sanchez, that owns Desert Beer Company. He's got his littles. Well, he's got the brand new littles, so he hasn't quite. Axel hasn't quite gotten the chance to brew, but he's been in a lot of photos.
Yeah.
But his daughter, man, she's such a cute little girl, and she's already been mashing in and
That's
everything.
awesome.
She's all in. So
this industry
Lennox
is by far and away. I mean, you see all the memes and the people saying, "Oh, kids shouldn't be in tasting," and all that stuff. This industry is sort of built on a generation of people that are either parents or going to be parents in the next 5 to 10 years,
right?
Likely, statistically speaking.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're not there's a big difference. I don't know. I'm going to go on a soapbox a little bit. I think the past generation saw beer as like, oh, these are people who are just going out and getting hammered or whatever. And you know what? Most of the times that I'm drinking, my staff laughs at me because I'll drink like a sip or two, and I'm done with it. Or I'll come in and I'll be like, I want one glass of one.
Right.
There's obviously days I do more than a glass. But the point of the matter is, it's like this is not an industry built on just like getting ham.
Right.
Going ham every single time you're drinking.
Right.
It's enjoying it. It's appreciating it. It's brewing your own stuff because you're inspired by another brewery. It's a whole other world. So like I always hate those memes are funny, but like at the same time I'm like, ugh,
Right.
Yeah.
It's multidimensional.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not going to always wear the same thing every day.
Right.
So it's like, every day, you can maybe wear something a little wilder, you know what I mean? That could be like your party on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then sometimes you wear a suit and you just want a little sip.
Honestly, part of what got me really into craft brewing, other than the peanut butter milk stout from Belching Beaver.
I've never heard you say that.
Yeah, right. But was the fact that, and it was an easy sell to the wife. Like, we could go and bring the littles, and we could play board games, and we can relax. And
we used to sell Pokemon cards for them here.
Oh man, that's perfect. Yeah,
it's
one of those things where it's a family environment. Yeah. It's not way different than a bar, right? Because we go to bars and have let loose sometimes, but
bars are
different.
It's different.
This is more of a family friendly kind of environment. Bars are like dark and they play Journey and like Disturbed and things like that.
Well, I'll tell you, like before, and it's starting to come back, but in those 3-4 months before COVID, we'd be slammed during the day with families here. There'd be strollers everywhere, kids running around. And 4, 5, 6, they'd start phasing out, and then it became more of a bar vibe. And it was like that just happened naturally.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I love that I'm starting to see strollers come back in. People feeling more comfortable to come back out with their kids. And you're seeing kids on Saturdays and Sundays running around. And to me, that's just like a healthy sort of like thing. Parents need a little bit of time to like let go a little bit instead of
absolutely.
Sure.
And it's a way to do it and still have like your family around.
Sure.
But it's in I don't know. I've never understood the problem
controlled
with
environment.
it. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. We're probably spending way too much time with me complaining about anti-kids.
No, I like it.
No, it's all good, and everyone's got their own opinion on it. But like I said, it was one of my things that drew me in. Was obviously I have kids, and it was something where, because I've like yourself, I don't really, unless it's for a party or a special event or something, I don't ever drink in excess. What I love to do is go to a brewery, and I'll start with a flight to taste a little bit of everything. Yeah. And then find the one that I like, and I might have one pint and just relax and
I'm a pint
enjoy
guy.
It. Yeah.
I'm a pint guy.
Yeah.
Like I can't do shares. I like to taste stuff, but like I'm not the guy that hunts down a share. I've always been the guy that's like, I really like that beer.
Yeah.
And I want to sit down
and enjoy it.
That's what I do. As soon as I find the one.
Yeah.
Although sometimes I get myself into trouble because I'll go to a brewery where I'm like, this is a tough decision.
Yeah.
And so far today, it's a tough decision.
We're going to make those decisions for you. That's the point.
Because, sometimes you run across a brewery where I always thought when I do the flights at a new brewery, I treat it like I used to when I was a kid when I'd buy a CD.
Uh-huh.
If there was more than 3 songs on that CD, I'd buy it.
So what is it, like tasting notes? You're like,
if it was the one-hit wonder, I would never buy that album. Because I'm not buying a whole album for one song.
I'm an album guy, too.
Yeah.
Me too, all the way through.
We're music guys, yeah.
I try, yes, definitely, like big music guys.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you like classic rock, but like Boston, for example.
Love Boston.
The Boston record, the first Boston album, that is like
cover to cover,
a perfect beer.
Yeah. Cover to cover.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that record.
Me too.
I'm a big jazz guy though, so it's
sweet.
I'm and I listen to music at home primarily on vinyl, so it's I'm an album guy. Because I don't want to. I'm not going to go up and drop a needle on track 2. I'm putting it on the beginning. I'm enjoying the piece of art I'm listening to, and I'm flipping it over. I'm enjoying the piece of art, and I'm drinking a pint.
While
I do that.
So you're a vinyl guy. Are you doing vinyl nights here yet?
We have done them. We've done collaborations with record labels and released records with like we've got one for sale now.
I saw that.
This band Expo 70. Mm-hmm. It's sort of a band, but it's he's incredibly inspiring, awesome. And I was talking to Tim from Burial. He's just become one of my best friends, and we're always talking about music. I was texting with him today because King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard released a new album last night. And I've listened to it twice already today. So I'm like, but we were like, we want to do a music beer. Who do we want to do it with? And we thought off the top of our head, and we both like just sort of said this: Kikagaku Moyo and Expo 70. And we was like, let's just reach out to Expo 70 and see what he says, because we were both
shoot
like
your shot.
And he responded immediately. He's like, let's do it.
Awesome.
So we're like, oh God, I can't believe like the first guy we thought of emailing was ready to go.
Cool.
And so I'll show you guys the record. It's really cool. Like our names are on it and the logos are on it. It's just really kind of cool for being like a music geek to have.
Dude.
Music's a huge part of everything we do here, and a lot of and we can talk about it when we start talking about the beer, but a lot of the concepts of the brewery and the vision going into making beers and the brand are really heavily inspired by a couple different jazz musicians.
Okay.
I mean, you're looking at me like you want to know who. So we'll just get
keep
into
going.
it
No,
I want this conversation to go on forever. Honestly, this is what I like to talk about.
We like music and beer, so this works for us.
So we'll go into it now then. So I like a lot of obscure jazz, but my favorite musician of all time is Miles Davis.
Oh yeah,
nice.
One of the greatest.
Just
Coltrane,
artist, period. Well, Coltrane's got my favorite piece of art of all time, and I love Supreme.
Well, they collabed a lot. So.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So and so both of those guys, there's a couple things listening to their music that sort of inspired a lot of what went into this place. And one of them, so Miles Davis, if you listen to Miles Davis and you listen to a lot of other trumpet players, everybody was always trying to show off how fast they could play or how all the little
technical,
tricks, technical tricks they could do. And Miles was always like, I don't need to do any of that. I'm going to. That thud was Artifact, so we're going to get into it.
Nice.
I don't need to do any of that. It's all about the total package. And if that means I'm not playing a note for five measures, I'm not playing a note.
Right.
And it was just, it created this like really cohesive, balanced like beauty. And that went through his entire career. And it was different styles of music, and he was always on the forefront of things, but he favored the total project over showing off,
like letting the band be the band and serve the song rather than rather than everybody just going all balls to the walls.
Right. Like I can play. I'm Miles Davis.
Right.
But I'm going to show you how amazing this record is.
He's a visionary, and he's able to show emotion and show life.
Yeah.
Through,
it doesn't require
music. Right?
Doesn't require notes every 3 seconds. And I felt that way about the term that I developed out of that, or the phrase I developed out of that, let the silence matter.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you'll see on our menu, there's a lot of beers that are just pretty much straightforward beers, because we're just trying to, I never want to feel pressured to just add things just to add them.
Right.
So when we add things, they're purposeful.
Yeah.
And that's Miles Davis.
Right.
The Coltrane angle is, a lot of people know Coltrane for his early stuff, which is very, boppy jazz and happy-go-lucky. And he used to fill the room, and people wait in line to get tickets to his shows, and he could sell out everything. And then over time, he got a little more eccentric, which we should say. And then he got to the point where he was all over the place.
Yeah.
And people were leaving halfway through the show, and he didn't give a shit. He kept playing.
That was some of my favorite stuff.
Yeah, me too. I love it.
Experimental.
Yes. He's fostered the free jazz, spiritual jazz thing and made it something everybody else wanted to do. And so even though he's got crowds leaving halfway through his shows, he is continuing to do it. And so that was another lesson for me too. And like, this is the best saxophone player arguably of all time.
Right.
And he has people leaving his show. He could easily go back to doing what he knows is going to keep people in the seats, or he could keep doing what he thinks is pushing the boundary and doing what he thinks should be done. And guess what? The test of time was people hunt those records down now and pay several $100s for original pressings of them, because
that market's insane. Like people.
Oh yeah.
Vintage jazz records.
Yeah,
dude,
for sure.
Yeah, I scored at a garage sale. I scored a first pressing of Coltrane's Blue Train for $30.
Oh wow.
It's a $2,000 record.
They probably had no clue, huh?
No,
yeah.
I don't think so.
That's usually how it goes
Got
at
him.
most
I'm just
garages.
kidding.
No,
I'm just playing.
Yeah.
That's how I was like, oh my god,
It's like old records. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
And there's times where I've gone into places and we want whatever for that, and I'll just buy a box sight unseen because they say there's cool stuff in it, and I get shredded. So it goes both. It's the way the record thing works. You go to a store, and they bought the same record for $30 and are charging you $2,000.
Yeah, I love how vinyl, most recently came back because my oldest, my teenager, we got her a record player for Christmas 2 years ago, and that's all we buy her now is vinyl records.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to hear her like sometimes go in her room and just put that record on and rock out in there, and you're just like, that's so cool. You know?
What I love about
Gotta raise
it
them right.
What I love about it is, I think as we've been talking, I think we all sort of appreciate the same thing. But I love about vinyl and music that was made back in the day to be played on vinyl.
Yeah.
It was less about the single and more about the entire album, because they knew people were going to be putting it on at a party or whatever and playing it through. Yeah. Like they didn't want those like filler songs.
Yeah, where people were like, "Oh yeah, let's skip it."
Skip.
There was no such thing.
Yeah, there was no such thing. You play it,
right?
Yeah.
And and like you mentioned Boston. I mean, I listened to an interview, and those guys put so much time and energy into every single aspect of that record to make it what it was.
Every song was top 100 Billboard, and without just saying that, it was written over a course of how many years before it was released. It was like a massive project, and it was meant to be that. It was meant to be every song was a single.
Yeah,
and I think that's how records should. But nowadays,
King Gizzard.
Dude, King Gizzard, Lizard Wizard, dope as shit. Okay, so my favorite, dude.
That's them.
You just got Brandon right now.
No, seriously,
best band of the last 20 years.
One of my favorites, dude. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you my favorite record. I know it's probably almost everybody's favorite record by them, but Nonagon Infinity is like by far. It's the one I can always put on and always just be like.
Mine's Flying Microtonal Banana.
So that's the first one I ever bought, and I got the pack too. Like I got like the T-shirt and the whole thing, and I was like, I love that record. And I love their what is it? I always get the name wrong. Is it Infest the Rats?
Infest the Rats.
Infest the Rats. Infest the Rats. That's what
I flew up to Brooklyn to brew with Finback, and we picked the date around a King Gizzard show.
To go see them?
Just to see King Gizzard in Brooklyn.
Planned just
Dude,
right.
All their stuff is so dope. And that record in particular, we talk about bands doing stuff that's out of their realm. That's totally they're kind of a strange band to begin with, but to put out a record like that, like they play like I don't even know what would we call that? Experimental.
The new record has like hip hop,
acid rock. Like I don't know what we really call it, but
funkdamental,
they use a lot of crazy tunings, like a lot of crazy tunings, weird guitars, and like just crazy shit, and they're awesome. But then they go and just drop like a thrash record.
Yeah,
and it was awesome.
But everything they do is, I find a lot more inspiration for beer through music than I do through other beer.
Yeah,
through their stuff.
Them, absolutely. Yeah, we did a beer with Resident Culture and named it after a King Gizzard song. We did a beer with OMF and named it after a King Gizzard song.
Dude, I love our mutual friend. We got to go there and check it out. They're so cool.
Isn't it funny how how many breweries have we talked to, and it's like music. It's a common theme. I feel like beer and music goes together. And speaking of beer,
we have beer.
We cracked a bottle here.
That's a good transition.
You like that?
That was good. That was nice and smooth.
So I can. This is crazy.
You want me to talk about it?
Yeah, I would love for you to talk about it, but I can smell it from here, so I'm excited.
This is my favorite beer that we make. It's like it's been my baby since ages ago, even before we opened. I used to brew it. It's a farmhouse beer. It's a dry hop saison. It's a table beer, whatever name you want to give it, but it's about 3.5% alcohol.
Oh my God.
With our house it just lets our house culture shine. It sits in one of the fooders in our tasting room, and it's a Solera method saison. So the new batches coming out are different. I love them. I mean, I really we don't have any available right now, but they're coming along just incredible. But it's just a beer that is what it is so simple. Yeah. There's outside of the yeast and bacterial culture that's like, who knows what's in there at this point? 1, 2, 3 ingredients, and if you smelled it from a mile away, and when you taste it, there's so much going on. it's just a real testament to what you can do with just like letting it be its thing. And so it's really like a symbol for our brewery. If you look at the artwork, there's a totem pole. And so, a lot of our stuff sort of,
I love it.
A little mystical, a little woodsy. The moose, I don't think I've ever talked about this in an interview, but the moose on top is a representation of my dog that passed away right before we made the label. His name was Moose. And then our owl is sitting right up top. So it's, it's just sort of represents what the beer represents to me.
Awesome. Well, I don't know if you can use the word beautiful for beer, but...
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, no.
It's
like
a
I said,
beautiful
when he poured it, I could smell it, and I was like waiting. I was like, we got to get into this. Well, because like lately, like saisons have been like the jam lately, and it's like all the breweries that are starting to like bring them back. I feel like there's not enough appreciation from people that go to breweries for them until they taste them.
Yeah,
and they're like, where the hell's this been?
Yeah.
We have a mutual friend, Jason. He loves saisons. He would love this beer.
Shout out to Jason.
We'll send you a bottle with Jason for Jason.
Oh, dude, he would love it.
But,
man.
What's crazy about this beer. So we started pouring it before we opened at at pop-ups that we would do, and people would come up and say, "Oh, I like lagers. What is the closest to lager?" And I'd pour them this I have a either super dank hazy beer, or I have a really fruited something, and I'm like, "Here, try this," and people started really liking it.
Yeah.
So I have a theory that saison is really one of the most approachable styles there is. It's just there's not a whole lot of. You hear the word saison, and you're like, what the hell is that?
That sounds too fancy for me. Give me a Bud Light.
Yeah.
Right. But
Let's get it on though.
So it.
We're in Florida. We got to do this.
The farmer friend. Yeah. It's one of my favorite things to do, and it's pretty obnoxious, but we'll see. We'll get through the rest of these beers.
No, but you're absolutely right. If more people were to give it a shot, give it a chance, and I could see that working too, at the pop-up where they're out, it's a farmer's market and they want something fresh and not too heavy, and then they taste it, and there's so much flavor profile that you get from saisons. This one in particular, the dryness of it is what I really appreciate.
Yeah, all of our wild beer, and we'll taste you on some more. We dry them out. They're bone dry.
Yeah,
I mean they finish below zero Plato most of the time, and they're just bone dry. And it's going back to my love for wine.
Right.
I wanted to drink like wine, so you'll try some of the fruited mixed culture beer, and they're really jammy, but they're dry.
Nice.
So that's sort of one of the things that you'll always find with our wild beer. Is that because that's just the way I like it. A little higher carbonation to account for the body that comes along with a really dry beer, but the saison's supposed to be super carbonated. So
right.
Yeah, this beer was actually this bottle that we're drinking. I think was brewed 2018, and it's been sitting in a bottle now for a couple years. It's just they're really. I mean, it's crazy. That's what I love about this style too. Is that they're really starting to shine now. So all it is since you guys brew, it's a Pilsner and wheat, and then it's all Cascade with a little tiny Cascade dry hop.
Nice.
And that Cascade dry hop to me has turned into a lemon or lime zest character thing that I just a candied
definitely
thing that candied rinds.
Oh yeah.
I get that. I don't know. It's just I love it. They're starting to come into their own after four freaking years.
That was beautiful, and like you say, the carbonation in the beer, it really insinuates that delicate body of with the Pilsner malt.
Thank you.
It's very good. And
thank you.
Do you use malted wheat, or are you using malted wheat?
Yeah.
Bavarian malted wheat.
So it's a variation of
don't give away too many secrets.
Dude, no one's ever going to be able to brew this beer the way they brew
well,
this beer.
That's what's cool about saison.
I know that
everyone's so unique.
I believe every beer is that way, though. I know it might be an unpopular opinion, but when a lot of people say
look at my Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Right. So, and I can show you mine. I have one too, and so it's kind of funny. I believe that no matter what, because a lot of people are oh, don't give away the secrets. And I'm always I'll tell you exactly what it is. And a really cool thing that I saw, there's a brewery up in Northern California called Bear Barrel.
Yeah.
And they actually put on their cans how to brew a 5-gallon batch of all their beer, and it's so sick.
Jester King's been doing that for ages.
Right.
Russian River did that with Pliny. If they can do that with Pliny the
It's
Elder,
gangster. Like I think it's so cool. Like you are that confident. And
no one will recreate this beer.
But the beauty of it is
Ever.
that who knows? Someone who creates that beer, like does the clone, might tweak it in a certain way
Their
that
own
makes
style.
it so
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
and adventurous and awesome. So,
Yeah, I mean, well, water is so important.
oh, dude, seriously.
So, I mean, well, what's cool about farmhouse beer is like it's really dependent on the person making it too. So, like, there's several factors that mean nobody that let me know that nobody will ever recreate this beer, even if they brew it exactly like we brew it. One is water.
Yeah.
And we have an RO filter for most of our beer. For this beer, we just pull straight, filtered, but it's straight, Miami-Dade's finest.
There you go.
And I decided to do that instead of tweaking things after talking to Jeff over at Jester King a whole bunch about Saison and everything. And he's like, well, we pull water from a well, and that's what we use. And I said, yeah, well, you're pulling from a well. I'm pulling from the city source. His response was, yeah, but that's your terroir. Like that is you, unmistakably you. That is water that only you will get. And so I started thinking about it. I was like, well, I'm never going to I'm not in a farm.
Yeah.
So I got to do what I got to do to kind of create that terroir. And he was right. And it's lended itself to just a unique beer that I don't think people can, just based on that fact alone. I mean, then there's the variability in barrels. So like we've got barrels sitting back there that we've thrown the same exact beer into, aged them the same amount of time, and one barrel to the next, they're completely different beers. You can't even tell they're the same beer. So it's, there's just, how do you recreate that?
No, and that's the beauty. Mm-hmm. That's the beauty of everybody brewing their own beer.
Yeah, an IPA maybe. We use RO water. We build it up. If you read my brew logs,
very clonable beer.
It's clonable at the end of the day too. Like
it still won't be 100%
fermentation profile
and what harvest are your hops?
Equipment,
where do you get them from?
Equipment,
freshness of the yeast.
Right.
Are so many variables.
Like, are you using just like straight pitch, or are you starting it or whatever? You dry yeast, whatever. It's like there's so many different variables.
Clean equipment versus non-clean equipment.
Right.
That's a big one for me.
Well, that's huge.
We do. When I was home brewing, I would use the same stuff.
Yeah.
Here, I got a little scared about doing that just because we started to distro a lot. Because when COVID hit, we had to, and we never intended on distroing a drop of beer. Now we're distroing in tons of states, and even Puerto Rico. We're sending a beer to China now.
Maybe one day California.
Working on it.
Specifically Beaumont, California.
Working on it. We are working on that.
I like that little plug
like
for the
that?
Craft Lounge. Yeah.
The Craft Lounge, California. Craft Lounge, Beaumont, California.
Hey, that's
Subliminal.
It's a real
message.
possibility.
Beaumont
soon.
Avenue, 7th Street.
It's a real possibility.
Just north of the 10 freeway.
That's
690 Beaumont Avenue.
It's always funny because I picture Jimmy when he listens to these shows. He's probably, these guys are too much.
Oh, no, dude. He's like, bring it on, dude. Like,
Yeah.
we would love to carry your beer. I know he would love this beer. And just because you have an ESB.
We have to
on
drink
tap,
an
This
ESB.
literally is like
That's Jimmy's favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
this
buddy
is
one of mine
style,
too.
man.
a lot of people come in. Like this is we only put this on draft in the tasting room. We didn't.
Yeah.
And we've sent a few kegs here and there because some of our distributor partners have come in and drank it. And they're like, "Oh, we want this."
Right.
And so we sent them a few kegs, but it's 95% stayed here.
It's this beer for non-beer geeks. I don't know what the good term is. I don't know if that's
Beer connoisseurs.
Yeah, there you go.
Or beer enthusiasts.
For non, like when they look up and they see like something with bitter in the name, it turns them off because they're thinking like, why the hell would I want to drink that? But then if you just poured it and didn't say anything and didn't put up a sign,
Yep.
you'd be like, man, this beer is delicious. There's so much going on here.
Yeah.
And then on the brewing process, just the respect on of how to make it. It's one of my favorite styles. And I told Brandan earlier because I was already sipping on. Fun fact: the BeerDad and Brewed podcast, we usually sip before we start the show.
Never.
I was like, hey, these guys are early. That's pretty cool. And then I saw what you guys order. I was like, all right, light lager at ESB. These are my kind of guys. And then they're like, they were looking for you.
You're like, oh wait, that's the BeerDad.
Good.
Oh, yeah,
this is
man.
gonna be a good interview. So these are people after my own heart here.
There you go.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, no,
All day.
this is just, and I told Brandan earlier, I don't know if it's because it's harder for us to find in Southern California, so I appreciate it so much when I do find it, especially if it's made very well. Shout out to to Lance Savage Wood. He made an amazing English bitter at Savage Wood Brewing, and of course, he just recently sold the business and moved out of state. I don't know if he's going to start up another brewery or not, but he's up in Idaho. But he made one of my favorite ESBs, and it's hard to find in Southern California. It really is. It's an art, in my opinion, and I don't know. It's one of the styles that I love.
There's not a whole lot of brewers doing it. I mean, the guys over at Forest and Maine brew this type of stuff all the time, and if you've never had those from them, I would suggest finding somebody.
Yeah. What was it?
Forest and Maine.
Okay.
Find somebody that can send you some of their beer.
Whereabouts are they?
They're in Ambler, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
duly noted.
They're incredible. Everything they do is incredible.
46 minutes or around that time is where we're going to have to do our research.
That's right.
So they're really, they're incredible. And actually, bringing them up is actually a really good segue into the clean versus not clean equipment. Because when we announced that we were opening, they invited me to come up and brew a beer with them. So I was like, I'm going to turn this into 3 or 4 days of just hanging out with these guys.
Yeah.
And I love their stuff. And they're super nice guys. It's just incredible. And they're very artistic, and everything they do is just super purposeful. And I admire them a lot. So I got to watch them just do their thing. And I started noticing, they're using all the same stuff for everything. And when I went up to them, I was like, hey, what is this? I got breweries back in Florida, creating separate facilities just for Saison and mixed culture beer. And they're like, well, if we buy this equipment that's supposed to kill the yeast and bacteria and it doesn't do it, all these chemicals, what's the point of buying them?
Right.
And I was like, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Now, we are a little bit more conservative than they are.
Yeah.
Or they were. Now I think they're starting to, they've upped production. I think I haven't talked about their process, if they've changed at all. But that sort of comment really kind of set my mindset, put my mindset in a different place going into the commercial brewing setting than it was before, where you just read a whole bunch of stuff about the nightmares of an infection.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, those are some of my favorite things to look at on beer blogs. Just infections.
The bugs.
Yeah, because I was just kind of curious. I was like, I want to see what one looks like, and so I'd see all kinds of different, bacterial infections, and I was just like, okay, well, that's a reason not to, skip out on cleaning. Yeah. And so I clean like a madman.
Oh yeah, look, we are still worried about it. Those are our only 4 clean barrels.
Yeah.
And they're stouts. There's a lot of sugar in there, and our culture is very aggressive and would love to play in those sugars.
Yeah.
So we keep those barrels away from everything else.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there's only so much we can do because we're not in a massive facility. We do what we can to separate.
I wouldn't shortchange it. It's a pretty decent size. We've obviously been in some tap rooms that are much, much smaller. Especially in San Diego, just because of the footprint and how small everything is.
Right.
But
and the prices.
It's decent size, and obviously, hopefully, we'll knock on wood that maybe got to take out the Harley place next door and just expand.
Yeah, well, one day we'd like to expand somewhere. I'm not sure where that's going to be, but yeah, we got a lot of. For those of you who don't know, we have a lot of really nice Harley. Actually, they worked on Shaq's bike recently.
Did they really?
That bike, you could sit on the seat and your hands won't reach the handlebars.
Oh, I took a peek in there. I had to. When we pulled up, I'm like, look at this place. And I was like, wow.
That bike's crazy big.
It
looks like a space, like a space vehicle.
Well, he has a size 23 shoe?
Yeah. Something like that, yeah.
And then I don't know if he's still doing it, but didn't he become a sheriff out here for Miami-Dade?
Yeah. Imagine him chasing after you.
That's what I'm saying. If I get pulled over and he steps out, sir, whatever ticket you want me to sign, give me 20 of them because
the taser looks like a little thing in it, like a tiny little thing in his hand,
little plastic toy in his hand. Yeah.
It's I'm really happy you guys like the ESB.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites.
It's fantastic.
And the Saison. These are 2 beers that are not the most exciting things in the world, but I'm happy you guys like them.
Honestly, it reminds me of, I don't know if you like this comparison, but you talked about Jester King, but Le Petit Prince, it has that.
Oh, there's definite
very reminiscent
inspiration here.
Yeah.
Totally, and that's one of my all-time favorite beers. And so when
that
I taste
beer's
this,
incredible.
Right, I do. It's amazing. And this
Pretty
beer
sure
is
I've
right
never,
up
I
there
don't
with
think
it.
I've had it.
Le Petit Prince.
yeah.
And another fun little fact.
I had plenty of Jester King, but I
Monkish actually did a clone of that one, and it was called Le Petit Pug, and I fucking love that beer. I bought a whole case.
That's right
of
up his alley. Somebody over here is a pug lover.
I just have a pug that I love. She's amazing.
I'm not a pug lover. I have a pug I love.
Also
Yeah,
known
it's
on
different.
the podcast as the guy that wore the pug costume for our annual
That's
Christmas
awesome.
episode.
It's a pug onesie, not a costume.
That's a
Get it
onesie.
right.
Come on. There's a monkish sticker on that bottle over there.
you go.
There you
Goodness.
go.
Speak of the monk.
Yeah. I mean, this beer, and I used to brew it, again, home brewing, and because of Le Petit Prince, I talked to those guys over at Jester King a lot about table beer, and definitely made some tweaks, to sort of refine what I wanted out of the beer based on how much I love Petit Prince and how incredible of a beer that is. That beer is just mind blowing. But
so
again,
cool.
it's simple.
Right.
It's like just
like
it
you
is what
said,
it is.
Just let those ingredients shine, like the Pilsner malt, like you said. And the wheat just kind of complements it finally. And then the Cascade hop is honestly one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
And as you love Cascade hops, saying that you are a fan of Sierra Nevada.
Yeah. So we used to, when I was home brewing and we first started creating recipes for the brewery, I had this thing. I was like, you know what? I'm going to pay homage to like the quintessential American hop, and that's Cascade.
Oh, dude.
And I used to throw Cascade into everything.
So good.
And then I was like, well, at some point it becomes pointless.
Yeah.
So like our house beer is Cascade. We're gonna do a version of we're gonna do a table beer soon with vitamin C. That's gonna be pretty cool with different dry hop and a different sort of treatment after comes out of the barrel. But yeah, well, I guess we'll talk about this one because I want you guys to try it before it gets too hot.
Definitely.
But
yes.
yeah, you gotta,
Oh yeah, just a quick brewer question, I guess. Some other hops that you're interested or you're kind of fascinated with,
What's your favorite hop?
or just like
favorite
intriguing hops.
is like the boring answer is Citra. It's just
I love it so much.
it's a reason
too.
why
I'm
it's
glad you
used
say
in so
that.
many beers. And I really love Strata. We've used a lot of
good.
Strata here.
Nice.
Before I opened, I didn't contract anything. We contracted Strata just to make sure we had it because I love it.
It's awesome.
So probably between those two. I mean, we really like. We use a lot of Idaho 7 here.
That's one of my newer favorites.
Yeah.
I like that.
We
A lot
use
of good beers. Lately, I've had Idaho 7. But, Brandon, tell him what the BeerDad's new favorite hop is.
You know what? Let me think about this. Is it a beer that I brewed with, or a hop that I brewed with recently?
With me.
Oh yeah. Vic's Secret.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a weirdo.
Yeah,
My favorite hops have been like Barber Rouge, and I'm using right now. I'm using Sriracha Ace.
Yeah.
And then Citra is one of my all-time favorites, but I also really love Sabro, and I know that's a polarizing hop, but that's one of my favorites.
It is. I'm a huge coconut IPA guy, but we do one with like a Sabro. It's a daughter or sister hop. It might be
it's
on.
HBC. Hold on, is it?
It's on. Well, I'll pour you guys some.
All right.
I know which one you're talking about. I've used it.
520.
One of my favorites
HBC
is
520.
I haven't used that one actually. There's another one that is very similar to Sabro. That's
Coconut Lime
HBC.
IPA. Is there's been a couple breweries that have made one, and that's like for me like the perfect summer beer.
Yeah.
Especially if you get it right at that sessionable like
Yeah.
5-6%.
Sabro in a I don't know if this is sacrilege, but in like a table beer would be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It might be. I don't follow guidelines, so like,
Right.
yeah, Sabro didn't
Do
exist
it.
back then. You shouldn't use it.
Like- Do
I
it.
don't care.
No, I know, but it's just I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just so used to.
We're definitely
The
trying to
bullshit.
explore more of that tropical character this year.
Okay.
I had this like illusion of grandeur that I would use all local native ingredients in our beers and stuff. It became very difficult, especially when COVID hit. But we're gonna start moving back in that direction and kind of exploring the Miami stuff. So
Well, speaking of Miami stuff, what he mentioned with my new favorite hop, I had this idea. So when we go on these trips, we do these fundraisers to basically pay for our trip because the BeerDad and Brew podcast so far is pretty much nonprofit. We still both Brandon and I both have 9-to-5 jobs on the side.
do I.
So we when we go on these trips, we'll do a fundraiser. We usually do like a custom made glassware and sell it, some T-shirts, and then a beer. And so I had an idea. I said, well, we're going to Miami, so I wanted to make a beer that was a Miami beer. So I came up with the idea of a single hopped Vic Secret beer and call it Miami Vic.
Yeah.
And so we made it, and oh my god, it was so good. It was like super, like it was just straightforward pineapple notes.
Awesome.
It was
So
and it was
that
popular.
beer-
How fast did that keg blow?
Yeah, the sixth was like, I don't know, maybe like an hour, but that was
Yeah.
with 14 other or 13 other beers on, so it was pretty good.
awesome.
So that beer, it's really
loved
cool.
That's awesome.
So it's mostly it's breezed 2-row, and then a lot of flaked oats, and then I used what else I used in that one? Some white wheat, and then I just bombed the Whirlpool,
Yeah.
and then double dry hop.
Yeah.
The color was amazing. We'll show you
Yeah.
pictures of it a little bit.
Pretty
but-
cool.
Yeah,
And,
Cigar City did ages ago did a single hopped Vic Secret beer,
dude,
and it
Cigar
was
City's
was
awesome,
always
too.
so good.
I love the Maduro.
I think it was a
That's
tasting
my-
room only. Oh, Maduro's
That's my
great.
favorite from them. I think.
Oh.
Hands down. We get a keg of that every once in a while. And we're
Yeah.
just like, dude, how do we forget about how good this is?
I
Like,
know.
it's so awesome.
Yeah, let's that's what I love about Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. You forget about how great it is, and you drink it, and you're like, Jesus, that's why I
Okay.
fell in love with this thing.
I remember I was in Idlewild, and I was like, dude, I just need to go get a 6-pack. I went to the gas station,
Yeah.
or whatever, little gas station. It's a very small mountain town, and so I went up there, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get some Sierra Nevada.
Yeah.
Drank it. I was like, damn, this is so bomb. I checked the date. It was like 6 months
3 years
old.
old.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
how?
Because they have like 0 DO.
How does it still
that-
taste this fresh?
That-
Like, it was so
that's
awesome.
weird. Like you find like the most random things in gas stations sometimes.
Yeah.
I was just telling him, literally last night I flew from a work trip up in Sacramento to LAX to meet him to fly here. But I was up in Sacramento, and a random Chevron, I walked in and I found Moxa,
Nice.
West Coast IPA at a Chevron, and I'm like, and then so I was worried. I was like, okay, this is not going to be cool. Like I'm going to look at the can date and it's going to turn me off. And it was like a freshie
Yeah.
from like a week prior, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
At a
We have a gas
Chevron?
station like that here.
Really?
It's called Mendez Fuel.
Was that the one that you were talking about?
Yes, dude. I looked
Yeah.
it up. I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
kind of
they,
obsessed.
check that
with
out.
They
it.
get
Yeah.
a lot of stuff, and they move it. So
They have
That's dope.
They have what 15 taps?
Yeah.
I saw that, or they had 15 on when I looked.
Is
at
it
the tap
still an
list.
actual gas station, or is it?
Yeah.
Just, yeah. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
And they do growler fills and stuff like that. Right?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
It's
pretty
incredible.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some cool places we definitely
He
are
used
going
to
to try
get.
to check
He used to
out.
be my Cantillon hookup. He'd get him in, and I'd be like, "I'll be right there."
Yeah.
Dude,
Don't
that's so
sell it
sick.
to anybody else.
Yeah.
That's
The
awesome.
gas station getting Cantillon. It's
So
incredible.
speaking of IPAs, this is one of our beers that we have poured here. What beer
This is
this?
Pursuance,
Pursuance.
inspired by A Love Supreme.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
So
Bringing it. We're bringing it back.
yeah, man. The pursuance of it's the pursuit of perfection,
Okay.
which is it will never happen. But this was that beer that stemmed, and you're tasting it, and you're like, how the hell did he go from Sierra Nevada Pale Ale to this? Because they're completely different. But it's a loose my version of it. I just kept trying to brew it. I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to hit Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. I'm getting closer and closer, but it's just never going to happen. And then I started thinking, why am I trying to brew somebody else's beer?
Make your
I
own
can
beer.
go get it.
Yeah.
Why don't I take some of the principles that I love out of the beer and just create my own thing based on those principles?
Perfect.
So it's pretty straightforward. Everything again, Citra, Simcoe. It used to have Cascade. We've stopped using Cascade in it, so now it's just Citra and Simcoe. It's our house beer. We bumped up the alcohol just a little bit on it when we went commercial. It used to be 5.5. Now it's 6.5. But it's a pretty good example of what our IPAs are, which is just like very fluffy and pillowy, and like the hops are the front and center. But I feel like we do a good job getting just enough sort of residual sweetness to kind of give you that
Absolutely.
that pillowiness. I'm really proud of it. I mean, it's gone through some ups and downs as we've opened. It's just like, you learn things when you're starting to brew on a larger scale and
Yeah.
you're figuring out your systems and stuff. But it's pretty dialed in now.
Yeah.
And now we're just trying to tweak to constantly make it better and live up to its hype.
Check this guy out.
Yeah, he has his own
freaking lizard.
He has his own Instagram account.
Does he really?
What is his name?
Yeah. Let me. I'm not gonna mess it up. I haven't posted on it in a bit.
No.
Sorry, we just saw this massive lizard just.
Randomly, well, we're
No,
at
it's
a
not
place.
massive. I don't know. He's doing push-ups now.
We're
He's
at a
just
place
really
called
showing off.
Yeah,
Unseen Creatures.
he does the push-ups, and then if you go mess with him, he'll like jump at the glass at you.
Get Jasmine. Get a little video of that guy.
So we have to give you a little bit of visual. So we're right here on an off ramp, essentially. Right?
What
This is an off ramp.
road is this?
It's the 826.
820. So that's what we came in on.
And,
Okay.
Yeah.
and I had a question. So I saw on your Instagram account there's a advertisement.
Yeah.
Is that
Right there on
right
the
there on
wall.
that wall?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's badass.
So yeah, no, it's pretty awesome.
It's literally like, I'm gonna exit here. Oh, unseen
yeah,
creatures.
it's on the exit,
And
and
they
you
can
can
literally look
see
in.
into us into our brewery and see us hanging out from the. exit.
I made a joke earlier that we should get a roll-up window here and be like in the marathons, like on the bike marathons,
That's
the guy
right.
with the Gatorade. Just hold the beer out, and if someone rolls by,
Need a
got it.
drink after work.
There you go.
Yeah, look at all these people enjoying themselves.
Just pour some farmhouse
That's right.
all
Yes.
over your body.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, now we just set up a stage too, so people are going to see people like rocking out on the
Oh,
stage.
dude, that's a sick little stage right there too.
I know. I made the first thing I saw when I walked in here. I was like, "That's badass." I was
Yeah.
just picturing like small little festival in here. Got live music and just
It's
having a
gonna
good
happen.
time.
It's going to happen. His Instagram account is Unseen Creatures and Lizard Wizard.
Lizard Wizard.
Oh shit!
Yeah. So
That's
Please
awesome.
follow Unseen Creatures and Lizard
yeah,
Wizard.
that's him.
Yeah.
So I created his account just because like he was always here. And
No.
he's sort of like the boss. So all the other lizards on this thing are scared of him.
No,
So we're from California. We do not have alligator-looking things
we
like
see
that running around.
small
What?
alligator
We have
lizards.
we have blue
That's an
bellies
African.
and alligators.
That's an African lizard.
African lizard.
People come here and they love collecting exotic
And they let
animals,
'em go.
they get too big or aggressive, and they let them go. And then because our weather and climate is so perfect for everything,
Yeah.
everything reproduces at an alarming
Yeah.
rate, and they're taking over the entire city.
That's what. So I don't know if it's still the case, but reticulated pythons have become an invasive species because of the collectors
Yes.
letting them go. Is that still the case where you can like hunt them and get money
Yes.
from fishing game?
Yeah, and I heard that a big part of that was that there was a research facility out in the Everglades that had, there's a facility out in the Everglades that had a bunch of exotic animals like the
Yeah.
Burmese python, and a hurricane destroyed the building, and out they went.
Oh.
So they're destroying the Everglades.
And they ate gators.
Yeah, they're destroying the Everglades.
Yeah.
There's-
That's crazy because there's so many of them and they're so huge and massive.
There's no predators, and they reproduce,
Oh yeah, they
like
have
crazy.
hundreds a batch. What do they call them? Is it clutch? I think they call it
I don't know.
something like
I
that.
hate
That's a pack of lizards?
Have you seen one since you've lived out here?
in the wild. No,
no. Oh, good.
Is that what they're called?
What?
A pack of lizards? It's called a clutch.
I think it's a clutch. Well, because they have
sounds
eggs.
pretty
Clutch.
official.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go down that rabbit hole of like reptiles on Instagram
Yeah.
occasionally. And
So his Instagram, I just
I'm
went
following
around,
it,
I'm
for sure.
following a bunch of like people who breed lizards, and then I started following the Geico gecko,
yes,
and
Oh,
I've commented
nice.
on his stuff, But I really set up the account because I'm like, he's always here. Everybody always sees him. They mess with him, and I'm like, you know what? The lizard's gonna fight back. So then we started just shitting on other people through the lizard account.
Oh, like
Nice.
like Wendy's. You ever
Yeah.
seen the Wendy's
Yeah,
account?
exactly.
That
Love
is
it.
so awesome.
Yeah, our Wendy's account is a lizard.
Oh hell yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Best Wendy's is when Chick-fil-A posted on Twitter. There's nothing like a spicy chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A on a Friday, and then
Yeah.
Wendy's went on there and said, or a Wendy's spicy chicken fillet on a Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Oh,
that's
dude.
just so funny.
Exactly.
Dude, Wendy's cold-blooded,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. Well, he gives us the flexibility to do that because he's a lizard, and
Yeah.
Right, and
it's not me.
No,
it's
no,
a lizard.
definitely not.
And for those that can't see him, we're gonna put pictures.
Yeah, you should.
But he's
It's the
just
nonagon
unique. It's like,
window
what is-
lizard
is
of
that,
the gizzards.
Would you say his head's gold or red? It's kind of
It's like a really
orange. Okay, black.
So he must like you because he's very calm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's chilling.
Maybe Jasmine, he might let you handle him. You might have to. I want to take him home.
There's a
That's
bunch
probably
of
illegal.
lizards on this thing. No, you
Yeah.
can take him.
Oh, he just
Please.
takes.
No,
Yeah.
actually, you know what? Leave him because
He's popular.
take all the lizards he beats up all day.
If
long.
you find a reticulated or Burmese python out there, go ahead and take that.
yes.
He has his own Instagram account. You can't remove him from his fame.
He's famous.
Yeah, he can't.
Everyone has these like cute dogs or cat accounts, and I got a
Lizard.
disgusting lizard.
It makes.
I hope he didn't hear.
It makes
Yeah, I
me.
hope he didn't
It
hear
makes
that.
me wonder too. Like, what is it? Battle of the Breweries, the card game. They have.
Oh, yeah.
They have the mascots for breweries. That should be.
You
your
should
mascot.
definitely submit him for the window lizard of gizzard wizards.
Absolutely.
He's always here. Always.
That's crazy how he just like. I just saw Brandon's eyes like, what the hell is that?
Like he owns this little thing. So sometimes you see like
There must be a lot
another
of
lizard pop up, and he just like
grubs
runs
or
him off.
bugs or something that
I
he
don't
eats.
know.
Yeah.
Miami's a wild place.
Yeah.
It's becoming
does he-
wilder.
Does he chug?
Yeah. he makes fun of us also. So it's not just like other breweries.
good.
He
Oh,
makes
yeah.
fun of us too.
Yeah, he's
It was funny when he was.
He's
Did
not
you get him
biased.
doing push-ups, Jasmine? Or did you miss
No.
it?
Oh, dude, it
He
was
was
so
totally
sick.
showing
Like
off.
if one of us walk up there, I don't know. He likes
I think
her.
he likes her.
Yeah.
With me, he pumps. You know, he does
does
this
the
push-up
push-ups,
thing,
yeah.
and he's literally jumped across the thing at me.
Oh yeah,
There
he
you
was
go.
mid. He was.
Mid-thrust.
That's his up right there.
Yeah,
There
that's
it is.
It
mid-thrust.
wasn't the push. It was the up.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
What a picture.
You know,
We'll have to send that so you can put it on the Instagram.
You know what's crazy though? I'm gonna talk a little shit on him though. You know, he's always talking shit on everybody else. I'm gonna talk shit on him.
Yeah.
He did like 3 push-ups and now he's just
He's
out.
given up.
He's done.
He's tired.
He's so like
It's a little warm today. Gotta give him
Yeah.
that.
You know, everybody got a little lazy and ate poorly during COVID.
oh
You
trust me,
probably
I
did too,
I
you
put
know?
on the COVID 25. I think.
Yeah.
I'm
Everybody
pretty sure I
did.
did. I know I did. I
Even
did.
even those that didn't have to, like me, who still worked during the pandemic, and like, still.
I worked. Yeah,
I ate for the pandemic.
I was given a lot of free food that wasn't the most healthy food. You know what I mean?
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
When we open this thing, it's like, you know, I'm here 24/7 and you're eating food truck food and beer all day long. And it's like, you know, I should have said no to the beer. I was like, how many times have I had this beer?
Yeah.
You know, but it tastes good.
It's hard to turn down a good beer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So that's that beer.
It's definitely you appreciate it though, like as a brewer, to have like something lighter on, you know, like this, or a rice lager or something, so that you're not like super heavy beers all day long.
I think what happens now in the industry is like you become a type of brewer.
Yeah.
Like, oh, those guys do really good, like, fruited sours. Those guys are the stout people. These guys are the IPA people.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we started pouring beer, before we opened, we'd pour a lot of farmhouse beer. That's what I loved doing. And then we became the farmhouse brewery. And then I was like, no. We also brew a lot of IPAs, too.
Yeah.
So then I stopped taking farmhouse beer and only took IPAs. And we got people complaining about the no farmhouse beer. And then I went back to farmhouse beer and people started complaining about no IPAs. I'm like, all right, good. So at least now we got 2 categories that people want to see from us. But up to that end, you know, I'm going to pat our... And a lot of these, like the ESB and a lot of, like the lager program really comes from our brewer, less than me. I always wanted them, but I sort of let him run with those. That's the styles he likes to brew a lot.
Yeah.
So I really can't take much credit for them other than just sort of conceptualizing them with him at times. And I feel like we've always done a really good job of these styles. You know, we may not puff them up a lot or may not be that guy. Like Suarez is the lager guy.
Yes.
Right? So,
yeah.
But like you can always come in here and there will be 2, 3 lagers on since we opened. There's always been a lager. Now there's 2 or 3. There's an ESB. We've had session porters. Like stuff that's a little like not your typical things that you're going to see on everybody's Instagram account.
Right.
Like I feel like we've done a really good job of like just putting a quality version of that out for people who come in here all the time.
Right. Like beer enthusiasts that are versed in all styles that are like wanting something different and unique to experience.
Yeah.
And that's what I always look for too. Like, if I'd never even heard of it, honestly, like a session, like a second running porter or is it just like a sessionable porter?
We used to have a food vendor during the day. It was like a coffee shop, but he did amazing vegan food. And we sat down and thought, what are we going to do with you? Because you're open at 8. And can we sell beer that might pair with the stuff that you're making? So we didn't want to do like something big. So we thought like a 3% porter. Because his food was very like rich. And a lot of it was like breakfast food. So you think like coffee or sweeter or whatever.
Maple porter.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it had maple in it.
Yeah.
It had maple. It had bergamot. It had vanilla, but it was like 3.5% alcohol. So that people can come in at like 10 in the morning and be like, screw it, I'll drink one.
Let's do like a whatever, like a half or.
Yeah. So we did that. But it's,
I love that though. But then I don't know. I feel like here, like your tap list appeals to all crowds.
yeah,
I believe there's a little bit of everything. Like really, because with the farmhouse ales, you're really I think appealing to more of the traditionalists, the old school cats, and then like you have a lot of like fine like hoppy offerings, and then the American lager that I had honestly is one of the coolest. I'm not just saying that because I'm sitting here, because I drink a whole lot of that style.
Yeah.
But honestly,
I just
super righteous, dude. Super like
I
clean.
just got tired
dry.
of people like posting pictures with
Badass.
High Life all the time.
You're like, these
It's like,
motherfuckers.
we're gonna brew an American light lager.
Dude, it's rad. Honestly, that if I ordered another beer, that's probably I would like to try other things, but I think I'm going to have another one of those.
When I
'cause
take
like
beer
it so
home,
much.
it's that and this, an Artifact,
Yeah.
Eternal. We're sort of going through this thing now, just to talk a little bit about where we're headed, and we're upping our distro game a little bit. We're upping production a little bit, and so part of that's going to be a little tweak to some of the branding around that beer. But we're staying true to what that beer is, which is like, you want an American light lager, support a local brewery. It's not that much more expensive.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fresher, and it's going to
Better.
be
Different.
brewed down the street or in the same state that you live in.
Less headaches.
No headaches.
No, zero. That's what I told him last night. Brando over here took part of the Spirit Airlines
I did.
special combo, which consisted of 2 Bud Lights, a water, and a Cheez-It for
Honestly,
$23.
Wow.
You know what? So
Look at Jasmine. She's like, I was asleep. I didn't know you did that.
oh no, you saw that. She was reaching for the Cheez-Its.
$23.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
2 Bud Lights, a water,
for
and a
2 Bud
Cheez-It.
Lights. Yeah, I didn't spend any money in the terminal, whatever. But I was like, you know what? We're going out to Miami, man. I'm gonna freaking buy some,
gonna buy
some
some
plain
Bud
beer.
Light.
Hey, but you know what?
You know
I
what,
couldn't
though?
do it. I had to
actually-
order the Sam Adams. I was like, I can't do it.
Hey, you
It's
know
not
what?
that bad of a price though for an airplane.
Well, no, it wasn't
No.
terrible. And for
think
Spirit, I guess they have a bad rap for
Everything.
everyone's like, oh, you have to pay extra for all this, whatever. I don't care. Plane's a plane. Beer's
Yeah.
always going to
Here-
be expensive on a
yeah.
plane.
Here's my
You're-
thing
you're paying
about
for it no matter what.
Spirit Airlines. We had the whole like walked into a cloud of weed smoke in the terminal, but whatever, get over that. And the unedited rap music that was in the cafeteria
They're
area.
playing the
Nice.
real Slim Shady,
I
and
was
they
like,
just let it all
oh
hang
my
out. dude.
I was
God.
taking a bite of my burrito, and it was like,
Kids
F
were
this
in
and F,
there.
and I was like, excuse me?
That's not even like an occasional F-bomb. That's like murdering
Yes.
people.
Right.
Yeah.
Jasmine was ordering a what was it, like a cold
Coffee.
brew?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just like,
F this and F you too.
yeah,
and
fuck this.
Oh
and
my
I was-
God.
And I was just like, dude, people are trying to enjoy their bagels right now, and they're just
I know.
they're just
It-
getting
and
assaulted
Marshall
with a
Mathers is
barrage of,
destroying them.
of,
It was
of
crazy.
Slim.
So other than that, and the like rampage like stampede that it is when they start boarding, which I thought is silly because everyone has a boarding group.
Oh, nobody cares
And,
about
and
that.
you have assigned seating. It's not like Southwest where it's like, okay, boarding group A, and then you go pick your seats, and then but like,
No.
you have your own seat. So like, stop.
Yeah.
But the actual flight itself was and I have to shout out the head flight attendant. She was amazing. She had a very unique name. I can't remember,
Yeah.
but she shouted out military, first responders, firefighters, all
Just
that.
like super sweet. man.
And she was just super sweet, and whatever you needed, she would cut. It. I know that you have to pay for everything on Spirit, and that's fine. But like, what was it? It was like $180 round trip to come out here.
$140.
Jeez.
No,
140.
140
140
round trip.
Yeah.
So I'll pay $23 for 2 Bud Lights
Yeah.
and some Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
And it was the
Support the game.
It was the snack mix, by the way, not just regular
The
Cheez-Its.
snack. Oh, those are
High
good
end
ones.
Cheez-Its.
It,
Yeah.
had, it had like the rye chips in it. It had like
Is that what that is? I've always
yeah.
loved the brown ones.
That's what it is. Rye chip. The rye
I
chips.
love those.
Me too. And you know what? Jaredetto, what are they called? Jaredettos? Or
Yeah.
Gardettos?
Gardettos.
Gardettos.
What are those?
It's
Similar.
oh shit.
The
You guys don't
high-end
have those
version.
here. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Oh,
They
maybe
have
we do.
them
I mean,
here.
maybe we do.
I
just
don't know.
They're just like a fancy version of those.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
a snack mix, but anyway, Gardettos makes a whole bag with just those things you're talking
Oh,
about.
no way.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, rye chips.
I love those.
Yeah, they're
So
super good.
I didn't do the combo. Well, I did it was a beer and a water combo, $13, but they had Sam Adams' new version of Fly Jack that Firestone does. So it's a hazy IPA, but light, with 96 calories or 98 calories. It was
was cool.
decent.
It's good.
I didn't
was
mind
cool.
it.
I
I wasn't
liked
mad at it. I
Is it
just
like,
couldn't
it's
do
just
Bud
like
Light.
a session IPA or what?
Yeah,
Sessionable,
and
late edition
under
IPA.
100 calories and just 4.7%.
Yeah.
And you just get that
Tastes like Mosaic and Citra.
Yeah.
get that hazy flavor and just a little more light bodied. And not.
Yeah.
For an
that's cool.
airplane ride, I wasn't mad.
Can't complain about that.
No.
I was contemplating shotgunning both of my Bud Lights, but I think that's frowned upon, especially when there's like
Half the airplane was asleep. It was a red-eye flight.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just hearing like
Yeah. In between the snoring and the crying baby.
That's it.
Yeah. That was good. Spirit Airlines.
That's right.
Thank you for getting us here safely.
Dude, seriously, we made it here.
We still got to fly back.
They should sponsor your next video. The amount of time you said Spirit Airlines today.
We've said it a lot. Spirit Airlines.
And we
Again,
we took some nice what do you call them time lapses with their howdy tail or wing.
Yeah, what do you call that? Is that like a
howdy wing.
It's a sky fin. Yeah,
Yeah.
the fins.
It
No,
says-
no, I know.
It
what they're
literally
called.
says howdy on it.
That's
No,
it.
they're not fins. They're wings. Fuck.
I don't
Sorry.
know.
But anyway, enough of that.
Yeah.
So you guys only picked 3 beers to drink.
Oh no, we could pick them all if you
Yeah,
like.
we're gonna have to get you more, but
Do it.
I have. Are you
There
going
it
to
is.
partake
Oh
with
yeah,
us
show
some
them
more, or-
the howdy wing.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know they did that. That's awesome.
it is.
That's awesome.
This is now that we've got you blitzed, we're going to give you a nice little.
Now you're
Howdy.
like, I'm booking a Spirit Airline trip back to California.
It actually wasn't bad.
And then you have the worst experience ever, and you're like, those
Actually,
guys
the
were
seat.
full of crap.
Yeah, we're never going to listen to those bastards. No, the seat actually lined my back. The firmness and the upright.
So that was one of the
Line
big
my back,
complaints
yeah.
was that their seats are very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And
I beg to differ.
I thought they were okay. Like they're not cushy like some airlines, but I don't know, just the design of them. It was like ergonomic is the word I'm looking for.
Ergonomics.
Yeah.
I love that word.
If you like
It's
if you like proper ergonomics for a long time to sit, which is a 5-hour flight.
If you put a name
good.
on this podcast, this specific podcast, can you call it Proper Ergonomics?
Proper ergonomics done.
or
With unseen creatures.
it has to be.
Proper artifacts
I
and
want
ergonomics.
I want your lizard to be involved too.
the lizard.
Where'd you go?
Jasmine, what was the name of that lizard again?
It was
A-
oh wait.
It had a double A name.
Red-headed something, right?
Well, it had like a double A name. It was like Abracadabra, or I don't know.
It's an African redhead agamas.
That
Agamas.
sounds right.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
So can we call it agamas ergonomics?
She Google imaged what in the hell is this thing I'm looking at right now, and it brought up that. It's
That
not.
phone's incredible.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Folding phones.
It's a Game Boy Advance.
I lose it every time I see that
believe it.
phone. Yeah. It's so dope.
How?
Jasmine has the most like ridiculous phone you've ever seen. It flips, and it's still a smartphone.
Yeah.
She's got something to say.
Shout out to Samsung for the Z Flip phone.
Yeah, dude. If you're listening, we'd appreciate some
Samsung.
phones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but then
you-
iPhone's gonna get mad at
You should hold this interview hostage
Yeah.
until these guys start sponsoring it.
That's right.
me, right?
Yes.
This needs to be released to the world, but we won't do it
Yeah.
unless you sponsor.
I'm pretty
Spirit
sure
Airlines.
we're gonna get
Samsung
$0 from Spirit Airlines because they don't have a whole lot to give. However, well, actually,
See,
they
you
just got bought out.
undid your sponsorship.
That's right.
Yeah,
they just got
there-
bought out though. I think by
all right. They're not that cool.
I think Southwest bought them. So, another budget airline bought
They
them.
only align my C-spine.
Spirited Lizard Ergonomics. That's the name of the thing.
Spirit Lizard Ergonomics.
Right? Text me
Yes.
that. Spirited
Lizard Ergonomics.
Lizard
With-
Ergonomics. Name of the episode. Spirited
unseen
Lizard
creatures.
Ergonomics.
With unseen creatures.
That has to be it.
Done.
I think I'm naming a beer Spirited Lizard Ergonomics.
Oh, please.
collab with the BeerDad and Brewed
That's
podcast.
right, dude.
Yeah, that's
And a
it.
picture of that lizard on the can art.
And we can all be totem pole our
we can
faces.
put our heads on the totem pole.
The lizard head too. He's
All
got
right,
it on
this
it.
The lizard.
this made it happen. Maybe we put Jeremiah at the top.
Yes.
We can
Yeah,
loop him
dude.
in.
Yes.
Loop him in.
We can all be on the totem pole. Be fantastic. So
That'd
what
be
is it?
lit.
Spirited.
Spirited Lizard Ergonomics. It's
Lizard.
really gonna happen.
Yo, it'll
I'm
be-
gonna-
Incredible.
No, because a lot of times some of the names of the episodes I pull from whatever shenanigans come up on the episode, and then other times it's like whatever the theme is.
Right.
It just depends, but that's perfect.
I
Done.
like that.
Done. You're gonna see
It
it,
sounds
go
a lot
across.
smarter than it is.
Yeah, you're gonna see it go across the ticker whenever you're playing it in the car, and you'll be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they named it
good.
that."
So are we
It's
about
so good.
Are we about ready to wrap this up?
We
gonna get
are.
some more-
Yeah.
So may I
Sure.
go
Whatever you guys
grab
want.
something real quick?
Yes, go
and
get-
then
go
I'm
get
gonna
your
just
treat.
share a little ditty with you guys.
By the way, just shout out to you for helping me with the beer review today.
Oh yeah, no problem.
That was awesome.
We got,
It was random. We just walked in and you were gonna do it, and I was like, "You want to do this?" I'm like, "Let's do it." Great beer, by the way.
Thank you.
Double IPA, as well as a rice lager, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Shojo.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a show with Shojo eventually.
yeah,
Maybe today. I don't know.
yeah. Well, he'll be here soon.
But you guys are doing a tap takeover with them, correct?
Yeah, and it's like the release of the collaboration in cans and all that stuff.
Nice.
So
That's awesome. Cool people.
yeah.
I just saw he was on. What's the name of the game show?
Oh yeah, Weakest Link.
Weakest Link. I was
Yeah.
like, how freaking like?
He got
Where did that
screwed.
come from?
He got so screwed at the end.
I was watching the videos that they were posting. I was like, oh man. But it's just so cool to see somebody that you follow, like that, like you
Yeah.
see on social media, and obviously a great dude, and then you see him on a game show.
Yeah.
You're like, what the? Like, so like random but cool at the same time.
He's a funny guy, man.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet him in person. Super cool, supportive of beer and the brewing industry.
Yep. He lives it.
Yeah, I can't
He
wait.
lives it.
Oh gosh,
Ah,
The
you see,
Bottle Logic.
One of our barrels over there is actually a stout that we did with Bottle Logic.
nice.
Sitting there.
Oh, he got a
And
bottle opener.
Brandon was here, and we talking about what we were gonna do, and we ended up doing like a hyper fruited smoothie seltzer and a stout.
Nice.
So the smoothie seltzer is available, and the stout
Still brewing.
is still in that barrel.
Bubbling.
These guys,
Yeah,
sweet. So, we're gonna
So
crack
they
this.
crush.
So Brandon, he always every episode Brandon likes to bring out towards the end just something to, obviously because you shared beers with us, and we like to bring a little SoCal flavor
Well,
out
this
here.
is a treat.
So he brought some Bottle Logic, Anaheim, California. One of the biggest breweries in Orange County. We were actually just talking about that today. All the different Orange County breweries, they've definitely stepped up their game out there. And Bottle Logic, a huge part of it. By the way, another shameless plug, Bottle Logic available at the Craft Lounge, Beaumont, California, just north of the 10 freeway. Jimmy's always carried Bottle Logic, and very popular there because now people in that area don't have to drive 2 hours to Orange County to get it.
Right.
So,
With all this promo going on, I hope our beer ends up there very soon.
yes.
I hope so as well.
So one
We
thing
are working on a California solution.
One thing that I can tell you about the Craft Lounge, Marco, is for the area, there's nothing like it, and the clientele that comes into the Craft Lounge they seek out great beers, and whenever Jimmy brings something in new, like it doesn't last very long because they know that Jimmy, Brandan, or our show, when they listen to the show and we feature a lot of the stuff that he carries. They know that we have a good palate for good beer, right? And so, yeah, it'd be cool to see your product there, and I think it would do well in that
awesome.
area.
I appreciate that compliment. This beer's crazy.
Oh, it smells so good.
Yeah.
It smells amazing.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw their logo on the bottle, I saw the bottle shape. I'm like, yeah. And then I saw the logo.
You're like, I know what that is.
And
Thankfully, again,
it's-
Spirit Airlines got it here safely.
That's awesome. They just crush. These guys are so good.
Yes. This is their bread and butter right here. But I don't like to discount some of the other beers that they make because they can seltzer, smoothie beers is something big that they're doing. One that I really
crazy.
enjoyed.
Right.
What's really cool for a brewer, I think, for me, because I'm a family guy, to see your beer at Disneyland and you couldn't ask for a better beer, but their take on the Dole Whip, they made us like a smoothie sour, and it was there. They just had the beer and wine and food festival, and I went there, and there it is, Bottle
That's
Logic.
awesome.
Tropical Hideaway.
Yep, had some
it's a
Tropical
cool beer.
Hideaway,
It's a
like the
beer,
perfect
man.
beer for Disneyland. Like you couldn't ask for a better beer.
This is good.
But yeah, this is really good.
Real quick, actually,
They're down here for the festival on Saturday.
I want to bounce
Oh.
back to something real quick on the ESB. What do you hop that beer with? Because I've been thinking about it.
I can't remember. I'll tell you.
You've been thinking
Okay.
that you want to make some.
Well, no, I just
can't-
really I'm
I can't
intrigued by
remember right now, but I'll go
the
look.
bittering profile. I really like it.
Yeah.
It's like super cool. And
I gave up on trying to remember what hops are and what because we do so much stuff. with
It's hard,
hops. It's just like,
I-
yeah, we're gonna do this on this one, and then we go back to it later, and it's like I forgot what we said.
It's one of those things where, like, you know, when we're making a small batch,
Right.
you remember things, and on a commercial level, and
Oh,
with
sure.
the amount of volume that they're putting out, like, remember Marcus was like, the first time we had Marcus on the show from Baba Brew House, he was like, we'll talk about the beer, but don't ask me like specifics because I'm honestly not going to remember because it was so much
Yeah.
farther back in
Yeah.
my production.
Yeah.
Like,
But it's cool though because he was always able to tell us. He's like, but the one that I do know is the Kolsch that I
Yeah.
dry hop with
'Cause that's his
Cascade,
favorite, yeah.
and it's kind of fun because
We dry hop ours with Hallertau Blanc.
nice.
nice.
I do mine with Sabro.
Yeah. Oh, of course you do.
I know.
Sabro.
This is awesome. Thank you for sharing it.
No problem. Anytime.
So, Brandon, this is Bottle Logic's anniversary beer, correct?
It's the 8th anniversary barrel aged stout. It's called Cake Day, and
God, I hate you.
yeah, man, it's it's cool. I don't know what you guys are really getting on it, but I kind of pull on the nose. I get this kind of like Black Forest cake, kind of almost like dark cherry.
I was gonna go
Kind of vibe from it a little
German chocolate for my
I get
palate.
some German chocolate.
Sure. And like
But
that,
you
that
know-
dark bittering
Do you-
baking chocolate.
Do you get on the tail end as it's going down, like a very rich espresso taste?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I like. And I always joke about Bottle Logic. I can never drink the whole bottle by myself. Well, I can.
As you should not.
I can, but it's a very bad day for the beer dad. But what I love about Bottle Logic is I love to, especially at the craft lounge and mess around with people, is I'll be like, all right, cool. All right, so get some, and I want you to drink it right now, nice and cold, and then I want you to let it sit for a while and drink it again. Tell me what you
Yeah.
think. And you always get two different beers,
Yep.
and I love that about Bottle Logic. Well, most good barrel-aged stouts will do that, but
Yeah.
Bottle Logic in specific is always, it's been that beer
Yeah.
for me. I love to play with it and have
We
fun.
we don't do a whole lot of stouts. We have some on. We just happen to have some on now, and so we normally take the opposite approach with our stouts that we do with everything else. Everything's like very nuance and balances, and with stouts we're just like we're gonna brew the biggest, thickest,
Sweetest,
syruppiest,
gnarliest.
gnarliest beer. So they're all like 14, 15% and all this stuff.
What was that one you were
Do you-
sipping on, Jazz?
Do you want to talk on that one? Because
She's got something to say. Jasmine's got to tell you. You'll appreciate this.
Yeah, so originally I walked up and I was going to try the seltzer, and then I was like, oh, an Oreo stout. So I tried that, and that thing was the bee's knees, man.
It's
it
so
just
good.
it was just super warm, like as soon as like it hit into your chest almost.
It's like 15%.
Yeah, it's a pretty high one. I think was it? It's like 12, right?
I can't. We always it's minimum 12.
Yes.
Minimum.
I don't remember the base that we used to get that guy out,
Yeah.
but
No, it's amazing.
Damn
I
good
mean,
beer.
at first I got like that rich like chocolate into it, and then it just was like Brandon mentioned, it was he mentioned it to me. It was like a fluffy, like the middle part that's inside of the Oreos. It just hit really, really
That's
nice.
what Brandon
Thanks.
said after I took a sip. He's like, it's like you scraped the
Yes,
innards
you
of the
just
Oreo
licked
off
it.
and
Yes.
then called it good.
Yep, it was
awesome.
very, very
I'm happy
good.
to hear that because I always get so anxious brewing them because like there's such a cult fanaticism around stouts.
There is.
And like, it's like I always get very anxious. Like that Bottle Logic stout that we've got in the barrel, I'm like, that has me more nervous than anything in the world. Our first stout we brewed, we were like a 3-week-old brewery. Ended up brewing a 3-way collab with Weldworks and Microphone.
Oh wow!
Oh, nice.
And so we're all hanging out. And we were friends with everybody, but still, it's like, you guys are like stout people.
The guys, yeah.
And here we are, this is our first stout we brew.
Yeah.
You've been nice enough to like be with us on this.
Yeah.
I really don't want to fuck it up.
No, it was good. I had a good taste from it, and I was like, oh wow. That was actually, she brought it over, and because she told me she was gonna go get a seltzer, and I was like, that doesn't look like a seltzer. But I know Jasmine, like myself, she loves stouts. And what the crappy part for me is, like, I love them so much, but you just can't drink them. Like, you can taste them.
Yeah.
And especially nowadays, like, I want to drink them, but if I do, like, especially that bottle we just poured, if I drank that whole bottle, I'd be done for the rest of the day.
Man, let me tell you something. I got so excited that we had a stout. I took a crowler home. right? And I'm like, I'm going to share this with my friends. But then I had like a meeting or something. I'm like, you know what? I want to drink it. I want to try it. Pour myself a glass. I'm like, I'm not going to drink this thing. I drank the 32-ounce crowler to the face because the meeting was like an hour and a half.
Wow.
Shit.
And I stood up afterwards. I was like, I'm just going to sit back there.
Yeah. Got that nice hot feeling in your face.
You felt like you just ate a whole cake by yourself.
Exactly.
You feel like sweaty. Like, oh.
That is what
My monthly caloric intake.
Yeah, dude.
Wilford Brimley coined diabetes.
You gotta check. Yeah, you gotta
Check your sugar
AccuCheck
up,
on
yeah.
deck. You're checking your blood sugar. By
Gonna
the
have to
hour.
Have insulin hanging in the cooler in the walk-in. Just oh man. But
Yes, that is
especially when you hit one like that Oreo one is really good. And
Thank you.
And I could see somebody being like, man, it's so good, and just keep drinking it. But yeah, especially here in like the hot, humid weather, oh man, that could do some damage.
You don't come home from a long day of work and you're like, God damn, I just want me a tall boy of Oreo stout, and that's when this comes in clutch. The Artifact,
dude, I would drink
the
that
American
whole
lager,
bottle
man.
of Artifact.
I do.
Like just.
It's amazing.
If I'm
I don't need a
barbecuing-
glass, just give me that bottle.
Yeah,
If I'm
right.
barbecuing in the middle of the day,
Yeah.
we're in Miami, we're outside all the time. You guys in California, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But we're outside all the time in the summer. It's hot, it's humid, and I'm sitting over a grill
Yeah.
watching my kids in the pool or whatever. I'm drinking this, and you drink 2 bottles and you feel like, I had a couple beers, but it's 3% alcohol.
Right, you didn't get
3.5.
kicked in the
Yeah, you're like just enjoying yourself.
Right.
Which is what I love about the style. I love about the beer, and it's just like it's a really good beer for people like live in places like us that are sunny and hot, and
Right.
you're outside.
Right, and there's everything you want in that beer if you appreciate and
Thank you.
love that style.
I think so, and it makes me very happy to hear that from
No,
somebody
seriously,
else.
and I'm not just saying that, dude. Like,
It's funny when brewers come down, like one of the last festivals that we had in town, and he's actually coming by. He just texted me a little while ago. Dino from Vitamin C, he loves this
nice.
beer, and he came in and was like buying us by like 3 or 4 bottles at a time because it was just like everybody came from all the breweries.
Yeah.
And they were drinking our Eternal Lager and this, and it was like I think we went through like 2 or 3 cases of this.
That's right. I've heard so this is our first time going to Irie Jungle, and I've heard the rumors that behind the scenes there's a lot of Miller High Life that's drank. Is this a true statement?
Well, this is why I brewed Eternal.
Perfect.
It's your
This is
It's
my
your answer.
answer to High Life. Like, stop brewing High. Stop drink. Like,
Stop drinking it.
Yeah, like drink a local light lager.
Like we always hashtag in a lot of our posts, support craft beer.
Yeah,
Right.
Because the little guy definitely the art, the passion, everything that goes behind making these beers, even the light lager, like you said, is so much more than what these big beverage companies do, where they just hit a button and mass produce this stuff and ship it out. They don't care about anybody. They don't, it's not family. It's not a small community brewery.
Don't get me wrong. I drink a lot of macro lagers.
Yeah.
But I don't celebrate them.
No.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I appreciate them, and I love drinking them. And when at my fridge, normally at home, people come into my house, and they're like, "Hey, you got any beers?" I'm like, "Yeah, go to the fridge, grab one," and they'll open it, and it'll be like
See, I've gotten to the point for
a
me.
macro lager, and they're like, "What is this?"
right.
My version of that, and I mean, technically you could say it's mass produced, but the everyday drinking beers that I'll have in the fridge are stuff like 805 and stuff like that. I'm still supporting
Oh, you guys
breweries.
are spoiled though.
Yeah,
See,
we are.
I still feel like, though, this is why I do appreciate macro beers, because that's where I came from, man.
That's where they started.
That's where
Yeah.
we started, and also I believe it is a industrial feat, if you will. For me, it's like if you can brew that much beer on that large of a system, you know what I mean, and it be that consistent, always, that is something that you should
Yes.
applaud.
Yes.
No matter what, as a brewer,
Yes.
that's where that statement comes from.
I absolutely agree. And as a brewery owner, even though I drink those beers at home and I like those beers, I have a hard time with celebrating those
Same
beers
here.
publicly when those same brands are trying to hold my brand.
I agree.
We to this date, I don't think we've ever even featured a big beverage, have we?
No, I don't think we have.
No.
But
Other
we-
than talking about it.
Yeah, dude, we talk about the good old times.
You
or
know,
whatever.
sometimes we'll shotgun a PBR just for the fuck's sake,
Dude,
you know.
of course.
I love Coors Banquet.
There you
I
go.
love Coors Banquet.
I love Rainier.
Yeah.
I like Hams.
Hams is the one that
You guys get? You ever
I spent
get
a-
Hams?
$2.99 a 6-pack at Bevmo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time. I lived in Spain for a while. My family's Spanish. It's just I love Spanish culture. And when I was living there, I would drink Spanish macro lager every day, all day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And so you'll usually see a 6-pack of like something from Spain. Yeah. Again, those aren't the greatest beers, but
Very nice.
But they tie me back to a memory and
Right,
a
and
feeling.
nostalgia. And that's why I like those beers too.
Yeah.
But as you said, not to celebrate them because we as brewers, appreciate that
Yeah.
art and the science and the the love that goes into those beers, and to support
Yeah.
other breweries that do the same is
Yep.
more important than I
Yep.
think supporting a larger brewery.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Amen to
Amen.
that, and amen to Unseen Creature.
For sure. Thank
Miami,
you so much.
California.
Yeah.
See that? Miami, Florida. I got them twisted, but it's almost like the same thing. I feel
It's
like we're in
just a
California
flip
right now.
flop,
You guys are
what I'm
lucky.
saying?
It's never
It's a
this
nice day.
cool in April.
It's weird. Yeah.
It's,
Really?
This is really cool for this time of year.
Because we were looking it up, and it was kind of funny because we just saw like showers, and we're like showers,
It'll still rain at some point. Too.
but it's a pleasant rain. It's
I
not like-
remember all my trips to Florida back in the day. One of my old businesses is I used to be in the
cool.
RV business, be at a trade show, and it would just start pouring down rain,
Pours.
and there was no clouds. And I'd be like, "What the heck?" And then somebody from here would just be like, "Don't worry, it's Florida. Just wait a minute, it'll be fine."
It's gone.
And then it's like it's there and gone.
Yeah.
Pouring down rain for 2 minutes, and then it's
Yeah,
gone.
I remember being a
Yeah.
kid playing out in the street, and you see the wall of rain coming down the street at you. So everyone just drops the baseball bat, all the gloves go flying. You're like, I gotta get home. And you're like running, and this wall of rain is coming behind you.
And that's it.
It's just
Sweeps
like
through and it's
bands of
done.
rain
Yeah.
that come through.
you were
crazy.
raised out here.
Yeah,
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
So that definitely hits hard. You're just like, fuck yeah, that's just the everyday
Just
life
used
for
to it.
us.
It's
dude.
Florida.
it's a hurricane
Just
every
wait.
afternoon.
It'll change.
Yeah,
For us, it's just like, well, where I live, it's just like everything's cool, and all of a sudden it's just like blowing like crazy winds, and you're
winds.
just like dying. And the cats are flying everywhere, dude. Dogs are hanging off of trees, and
That's called the California tornadoes.
That's right.
That's right.
Good old Blowmont. Shout out
Blowmont.
to Blowmont. I mean Beaumont.
But we're here. We're gonna kind of end the show so we can kind of take a toursy and see
Right.
around the place.
Sounds good.
But Unseen Creatures, Miami, Florida. You said off the 826.
826 and Bird Road.
826 in Berg. Perfect. We found it easy. GPS brought us to it, and like I said, you got all kind of cool stuff in the area, and then there's also other breweries in the area. So, come on down to Unseen Creatures, and you can park in one spot and just kind of walk around and
Come and say
Swing
hi.
by, taste some amazing beers, hang
Come
out
and
with
say
some cool
hi.
people, see the
lizard.
the push-up lizard,
yeah,
on the wall,
the
right
mascot. He ran away.
right,
He's
yeah.
done.
and be sure to tag him when
Absolutely.
you come here.
Yeah, tag him. Hashtag lizard. Of
Let
Unseen
them
Creatures.
respond by talking shit to you.
Absolutely.
Just really level you out if you're feeling real confident. Just really just humble
That's
you.
right.
Yeah,
He's a jerk.
it's such a dick.
yeah, he likes to show off.
Yeah,
guys.
like 3 push-ups.
So, shout out to the Miami beer scene and Miami Beer Week, which we happen to somehow be here for.
Yes.
And then, what's before we go, future for Unseen Creatures? Anything big coming up that you want to tell anybody about?
Yeah.
Festivals
Sure.
or releases, parties, whatever you got going
Yeah,
on.
absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you to you guys. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
thank
Seriously,
you.
it's been amazing.
This has been a lot of fun. Thank you to Jeremiah for introducing us.
Absolutely.
Totally.
So Miami Beer Week, like you said, is here. We have a lot of cool events. Next Friday, we got our Miami Beer Week event, which is a fooder night.
Okay.
There's some cool stuff with fooder beer. We'll be pouring some beer straight out of the fooders for people to try, and we brought in some of our friends from around the country, some of their cool barrel-aged mixed culture beers for this event. We recently brought on some new partners,
Okay.
and those partners are just really smart, and they're really good with business things.
Yeah.
And I think that you will see a lot out of Unseen Creatures. You'll see a lot more of us now because we're going to let people be really good at what they do. And I'm going to get to come back to sort of my roots in the creative and brand direction and all that stuff.
Nice.
Less day to day, which has been really freeing for me, just sort of mentally. And so what that means is you will probably start seeing our beer in California. You will see our beer in more states.
Nice.
You'll see more of our beer. And I'm really, really excited about that. Our partners are really great people. And they bring a lot to the table. And, we always wanted something like that. I mean, we've always had a pretty good ownership team.
Yeah.
But I think we're ready to take things to the next level. So I think, for people listening in different states, I think you will start, if you've never had our beer, I think in 22 you'll start seeing more of our beer around in your states. And then for the people who are here in Miami, you're going to see us start having some time to get back into really sort of exploring mixed culture more this year.
Awesome.
COVID sort of required us to do stuff that we could distribute easily, and that happened to be our IPA program.
Yeah.
Now that people are coming back to the tasting room, it's allowing us to come back to a little bit of our roots, the farmhouse beer, and I'm really excited about that. Start digging into the local stuff again,
Very nice.
local ingredients, and really pushing what terroir and farmhouse beer means to us. I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. I'm just really excited about the future of the brewery. I'm really excited that we survived this last few years.
Absolutely.
And I think that because of it and because of our new team that we've built, and you're going to see a lot of cool stuff coming out of us, I think. I'm really excited about it. I don't know.
That's perfect. I can tell.
I'm excited
I can tell
for you.
how excited you are. I mean, you can see it, you can hear it in your voice, and I'm excited just to think that we'll be able to eventually see your beers out where we're at in California, all the way across the country. And because, like I said, everything that I've had here today so far has been amazing.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and say that ESB is my favorite, and Artifact close second. Mm-hmm. And then, well, it's hard because that Oreo stout was really good too. But no, just some solid beers. The rice lager that you did with Shoujo was good. The double IPA that we had earlier in our little review was great. So you're definitely doing great things. Jeremiah said so much about you.
Awesome.
He basically, I told him, I said, hey, we're going out there for Irie Jungle, and we want to do some podcasts while we're out there, and fill in the time we're out there because we've never been out here. And I said, who should we spotlight? What breweries should we spotlight? And he threw you under the bus as one of them, and I was like, okay, and he gave me reasons why, just that traditional solid beers, like you're gonna love their beers. Marco's a great person, and but yeah, again, Jeremiah, thank you for hooking us up.
Now get back down to Miami and hang out with me.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Get out here and party.
That's right.
We need to party with
I owe him
Kings.
a visit. He's here a lot.
He's always going somewhere. So, but again, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It's been amazing. We'll do a little
Thank
little
you.
Toursky. But one thing that we do is it'd be a surprise to you, but we brought our grandma with us.
Right. She's been actually in the Blue Ball. That's what we're calling our rental car.
Yeah, bring grandma in here.
It's a blue. What is it? Ford Fusion. We call it the Blue Ball.
Mark was like, "What the hell are these guys talking about?"
So our grandma is sitting in the car.
So here she comes now.
Here she is.
They also practice by drinking the urine of a ram.
The what?
She's
They
classy.
drink ram's piss.
Because of the pH balance?
No, because if you can drink ram's piss, fuck, you can drink almost anything.
She said fuck.
Oh, what is the malted liquor? What gets you drunk or quicker? What comes in bottles or in cans? Beer. Can't get enough of it. Beer. How we really love it. Beer. Makes me think I'm a man. Beer. I could kiss and hug it, but I'd rather chug it. Beer. Let my belly out to here. Beer. I could not refuse it. Beer. I could really use it. Beer. I can't remember how much I have had. I drank a 12-pack with my dad.
Thank you for listening to the BeerDad and Brew podcast, brought to you by the Craft Lounge, Beaumont, California, just north of the 10 freeway. Go see Jimmy. Tell him the BeerDad and Brew podcast sent you for all your craft beer needs. Cheers from the BeerDad and Brew podcast on site in Miami, Florida.